February 6, 2017 at 7:30 to order. Please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Approval of meeting agenda. Any additions or deletions, please? I have one addition. I'd like to add Township Employee Health Care Plan change request under number 10, new business, letter T. And for discussion purposes on our letter, I'd like to add letter U for meeting time, hours of for our meetings. Any other additions or deletions? Excuse me?
Hi, Steve's, and I said, yes, what time is breakfast?
That's why letter U.
Mr. Supervisor?
Yes, sir.
Item O remaining on the agenda?
Did you want to discuss that meeting to take place with you and Mr. Gasser, or would you like it deleted at this time? It's up to you.
So I can certainly give a little update on that.
Why don't we just do that for people in the audience? Thank you, sir.
Are we deleting all of them?
No. Any other additions, deletions? Motion.
Make a motion to accept the agenda as amended. Second.
I have a motion by Clerk Kendall, supported by Treasurer Honnold. Any other discussion or questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Approval of minutes, 1/3/2017.
Make a motion we approve the minutes from January 3rd, 2017.
Thank you. Motion by Trustee Clifford, supported by Trustee Gurley. Any other questions? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Public announcements. Any public announcements at this time? Any public announcements from the crowd?
Oh, I guess maybe I should announce that we have been contacted by the county and New Haven schools and our Maida schools are looking at putting something on the docket for May elections. So we're looking at 2 school districts in May.
Okay, thank you. Any other public notices? Public comment. Any public comments at this time? No public comment. Number 7, consent agenda. All items listed under this consent agenda are considered routine by the Township Board and will be enacted by one motion. According to established Township meeting rules, there will be no separate discussion of these items unless a member of the Board or public so requests or prior to the meeting, in which event the chair of the meeting may remove such items from the consent agenda for discussion and consideration under agenda item number 8 below. Approval of the consent agenda shall be a majority roll call vote of those present and voting. Any questions?
have no questions, but I would like to do our bills at this time. We have $66,845.31 in prepaids and $321,110.98 on the bills list to be paid tomorrow, for a total of $387,956.29.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I make a motion, we approve the consent agenda as written.
Second.
Thank you. Mr. Jobber, can they include the sum of the bills with that motion also, or should that be separate?
I believe it is part of the motion since the bills are part of the consent agenda.
Thank you. Would you like to just state that amount, if you could, Mr. Clifford, for the record? Yeah, it's 300.
$387,956.29.
Thank you.
I make a motion that we approve the consent agenda with the amount just spoken by.
Thank you. Thank you.
By Mandel.
I have a motion by trustee Clifford, and that was supported by
Me.
treasurer Hahn. Thank you. Any other questions or discussion? Deputy clerk, roll call, please.
Gurley? Aye. Clifford?
Aye.
Candell?
Aye.
Connell?
Aye.
Trombley?
Aye. Motion passes. Thank you. No items have been removed from the consent agenda. Number 9, unfinished business. Zoning Board of Appeals appointment. Deputy clerk here. Deputy supervisor, I'm sorry. She just step out?
No, she's right, I'm right here. I'm sorry.
Could you just give us a clarification on that real quick, please? That was just to clarify the appointment and whose position that was filled?
Correct. You have to go back to the December board meeting and rescind that motion for Mary Beth as a new member. And that's because Chuck is going to keep his seat for another year on the planning commission. So Mary Beth will be replacing Peg, who retired.
Mrs. Hymas.
Yes.
Okay.
So it'll be a 2-year appointment for Mary Beth.
I make a motion, we rescind the motion from December 5, 2016.
A second.
Motion by trustee Clifford, supported by trustee Gurley. Any questions? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Second motion. Need a motion form to take the place of Mrs. Hymas, Mary Beth.
Well, I make a motion that we appoint Mary Beth to the position held by Mrs. Hymas to continue that term until its ending.
Thank you. Any other questions?
I believe it might be proper to state that is position number 3 on the list that we normally keep, so that there's no question about it later.
It would be in position number 3, correct? I make a motion, we appoint Mary Beth Paisley to position number 3 to fulfill the term of Mrs. Hymas until its ending.
December 31st, 2018.
Thank you.
I second.
Thank you. Motion by trustee Clifford, supported by trustee Gurley. Any other questions? Discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Letter B, ordinance amendment request. Attorney Jockin.
Yes, thank you very much, Mr. Supervisor, Council Board members. This was on your agenda in January, at which time I indicated that the ordinance should be put into ordinance format for incorporation into the Township's Code of Ordinances and the zoning ordinance. We've provided as part of the agenda packet just such an ordinance, which is in proper form in our opinion and ready for the board to consider adoption. Adoption of a zoning ordinance amendment is by roll call. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them for you. This is a corrective amendment to the ordinance to correct a typographical error.
Any questions?
Make a motion that we accept the ordinance amendment for section 1700 as presented.
I second.
Thank you. Motion by Clerk Kendall, supported by Trustee Clifford. Any other questions? Deputy Clerk, roll call, please.
Gurley? Aye. Clifford?
Aye.
Connell? Aye. Kendall?
Aye.
Trombley?
Aye. Thank you. Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Attorney Jeffrey. Letter 10, new business. Fire Department Personnel Physicals, letter A. Chief Richey.
Evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Provided a packet back on June 30th to all members of the board. Per NFPA, it is highly recommended that all personnel that are active in firefighting duties be provided with an annual physical to perform their duties, to make sure that they're healthy enough to do it, they don't have any underlying situation or medical issues. We have provided physicals in the past. When I did this current budget that we are in, I sat down with the assistant chief, and one of the things that we want to continue to do budgetarily every year is to provide physicals. So this year I budgeted $13,000, and I received a quote from Henry Ford, who has provided our physicals in the past, but I also had heard through the Chiefs Association here in the county about BioCare, which is out of Holt, Michigan, and several departments use BioCare because one of the greatest advantages is that BioCare comes right to the department. So we don't have to schedule personnel to leave Lenox Township and go all the way down to 23 Mile Road and get physicals. We'll probably be able to do them all in one day on a Saturday. And they came in actually with a better price. Their original quotes and requests were for 20 personnel, but we're down to 18 personnel at this time. That being said, BioCare's final cost would be $10,360, and Henry Ford's would be $12,960. And again, I budgeted $13,000. So this is a line item that was approved at the budgetary hearing last summer. Any questions? Now I request board approval to move forward and award this contract to BioCare.
I will make a motion that we accept the quote from BioCare for physicals for the fire department as presented in the amount of $10,360.
I second.
Motion by Clerk Kendall, supported by Trustee Clifford. Any other questions, discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you. McLaren Macomb Medical Outreach Clinic lease renewal, letter B. Chief.
Okay. I know Ron and Kathy are familiar with this, so I'll briefly discuss this. Back in 1999, McLaren Macomb approached myself and requested to work out some type of agreement where they could store their 38-foot portable clinic. It's a giant-size panel truck, And what they do is 2 or 3 days a week, they take it down to the south end of Macomb County to provide physicals and medical. It's a medical outreach clinic. They park it in parking lots in the city of Warren and man it with a doctor and 2 nurses 2 to 3 days a week. But they had no place to store it because the building they stored it in Richmond ended up being tore down. So they came to me, and we've had this agreement in place since 1999. The reason you didn't get a copy that says 2016, I've been bugging them for 4 weeks now. The vice president of LeClaire and Macomb that handles this whole part of all of their real estate projects retired in December. So they're still in a flux. But I got phone verification as well as email that they want to continue with the lease agreement. So there are going to be no changes to the current agreement that I provided you other than the dates. Other than that, the rent will stay the same, which right now is $650 a month. So it comes out to $7,800 a year, and that pretty much covers all of our operational costs for Station 2 with the exception of payroll. So it's a total win-win for the fire department, for the community. So at this time, I request that the board approve continuing the lease agreement and authorize the township supervisor to sign the updated agreement as soon as it is sent to me.
I make a motion that we approve the lease agreement regarding the storage of the LeClaire and Macomb Outreach Clinic at the Lenox Township Fire Hall number 2.
Second.
Motion by trustee Gurley, supported by trustee Clifford. Any other discussion or questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you, everyone. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Letter C, lawn fertilization request. Good evening.
Good evening. I know it always seems kind of ironic to talk about lawn fertilization when we're still in the midst of wintertime, but these are actually the perfect time of the year to start lining these things up, because before we know it, the weather changes and it's time to do that kind of stuff. Attached to the letter that I provided to the board were the contract renewal rates that I received from True Green. We have used True Green for the past 6 years. For the past 6 years, True Green has held their prices at the same amount. They have not increased. This year, they did do a 5% increase, but if we do what they call a prepay, or if we pay up front for the year, 5% comes off, which makes it the same price that we've paid since we started using them. Basically what it entails is the park, the area up here around the office building, and then down the street by the fire department, EMS, and DPW, as well as Station 2 up on 32 Mile Road. It's a 2 application per year per location. Total cost is $2,503.73.
Any questions?
Cat, they're guaranteeing that price for the next 3 years?
Correct. These contracts that they provided me are for the next 3 years. I know in years past, when we've looked at some of these different costs, the amount of fertilizer it would take to do this many acres, we can't even purchase it for that amount.
I make a motion we approve the contract with True Green for the next 3 years at the stated price with no increase.
I second it.
Thank you. Motion by trustee Clifford, supported by trustee Gurley. Any other questions? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. CIP Assets Management Water System Report Request.
What this is in regards to is a notice I received from the DEQ. When we received this request to do these two reports. We were in the midst of another project, and we basically asked them that if we could put this off until we got through that. What these two reports are, one is a CIP, which is a capital improvement program. They're requiring us to look ahead to the future, the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years, and give them a projection on not only how much growth we foresee in the area, but how we intend to expand our system, what our needs are going to be, what kind of demand we're going to put on some of the other natural resources in the area. So that's one part of it. The second part, the asset management program, as we all know, not only in this state but countrywide, a lot of the infrastructure is starting to age and have problems because nobody really took track of all these different things underground because they're out of sight. So they're looking at all the communities doing these asset management programs to identify their oldest areas, start tracking these things, start looking at it, and preparing budgetarily to improve and replace these items down the road. So these things are not only just reports to look at that tell you it should help us as the future goes on, budgeting our monies towards different needs of the system in the area.
Cam, is this something that's mandatory, requested mandated by the state, something we have to do?
By the DEQ, yes. Now, there are certain parameters that are listed on the template that do not really apply to our community because it's not a makeup of our community. So we do have a request into them to better understand, do we still have to do these parts even though they do not apply to us? You know, because it wouldn't make sense if it wouldn't apply. So we're still waiting on a return call from the DEQ on that part of it.
Now, is this something, this plan, you have to bring it back to the board for approval once you get it drawn up? Or is this something you and submit?
I guess the only reason I would probably come back and discuss this any further is if something has changed in that template from the state that we're unaware of at this time.
So basically, to summarize, it's an outlook forecast with growth and consumption, with preventative maintenance program and budgeting for that.
Correct.
In a
It's kind
nutshell.
of right along the same lines of the SAW grant stuff that we've had to do on our sewer system side. You could even say it kind of falls in line with what we do with some of our planning of some of the areas of the township and so forth. Even our in-house budgeting process from year to year, it's kind of along the same lines, looking ahead. Where do you foresee this going?
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening. That's basically the CIP description, which you just said, Ron.
Hold the mic up, please, sir.
The asset management plan goes in further. It goes into cost recovery and how you pay for your infrastructure, how you maintain your infrastructure, and also make an assessment of what you have right now, and also plan for the future expansion. So it is required by the state. The letter that we received from them dated May 20th. I don't know if it's attached to your package. The packet, May 20th of 2016, asked for those two reports to be submitted back in January of 16, but they accepted the minimum list of just projects, 5 and 10 and 20-year project, just a list of projects by June 20th of 2016, and we did submit that last year. Now, the two reports, the final two reports, the CIP and the AMP, are both due on January 1st of 2018. But we all know, and once we get into the summer, it's very hard to work on these reports. So we want to jumpstart on it right now while we wait for the state to give us more details on what the components, the minimum components are required in each report, so we can get going on it. And
For clarification purposes, this isn't a suggestion, this is a requirement.
this is a requirement.
Okay.
Yeah, I can send you this letter
Yeah.
if you like it.
But that's kind of why I asked. I didn't.
Yeah, we have no choice.
And then the other part of the request is, on the template, we have what they call a committee, a CIP committee and a bylaw that may be required by the state. We still haven't got a confirmation on that yet. But if we do need that, we need to form a committee. It's basically myself and Cam and one of the board members, just to keep it in the CIP as it's been adopted and the committee was formed. So we'd like a volunteer, basically. Just to, stay with us along the process and maybe report back to the board.
I'll volunteer.
Thank you, Luann.
You're welcome.
Okay.
I do have one question, gentlemen. We're showing a preliminary cost of $3,000 for each report, so we're talking basically $6,000 or more. That is something that has or has not been budgeted at this point.
Correct.
Has it been budgeted or has it not been budgeted? I don't.
This is just a preliminary cost based on, preliminary items were required.
We budgeted X number for engineering services for the water and sewer system, so that's where this would come out.
Okay.
Any other questions?
I make a motion we proceed with the water system CIP and AMP reports as stated at $3,000 per report. That covers 5, 10, 15, and 20 years, correct?
Correct. And formation of the committee consisting of the clerk, the DPW, and the engineer. If I may
What's that, Madam Secretary?
Formation of the committee
The
between the
formation of
two.
the committee between the three of them.
Okay.
Support that?
A second.
Restate the motion.
Thank you. Now you're good. I have a motion by trustee Clifford, supported by treasurer Arnold. Any other questions or discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Thank you, gentlemen. Letter E, Phragmites demonstration project request. Ms. Klein. Good evening.
Good evening, everyone. Kathy Klein, Waste Management, Community Relations. We're looking to see if the township would be interested in Waste Management covering the cost to do a Phragmites demonstration project at the entrance to the driveway here. As part of our wildlife habitat program, a lot of the projects that we do on our property aren't as visible to your residents, and it can provide a good educational opportunity to do that. And this is the time of year when the Phragmites get cut, and then they apply a herbicide to them in August and September, so it's a two-phase project. What we can do is put a little sign there that will educate residents as they come in and out of the township that this is what Phragmites are, this is how they spread, they take over wetland areas. So that's the purpose for the contractor would be Natural Community Services. They were out here this summer doing the wildlife habitat inventory, or the species inventory. And the herbicide that they use has a PDF information on it if there's an MSDS sheet, if people are interested in learning about that. It's going to be, if they're going to do it, we've got probably 2 to 3 good weeks left of winter where they could come in and cut. So we're looking for your approval on that, if that's something that you want to go forward with. Waste Management would pick up the cost. It would simply become a visible demonstration.
Doing that service.
They are insured, they have to meet our insurance requirements in order to do work for Waste Management.
Attorney Johnson, do you see any problem with that?
No, sir.
All right. DPW?
No.
Okay.
And then the other thing I wanted to show you is that I have put together a storyboard that'll be in the lobby here at the township on green infrastructure. As Cam talked about some of the water system reports and infrastructure things that are happening, there's a lot of conversation right now about implementing green infrastructure for stormwater management. It's hard to imagine out here because you have so much open space, but you actually built in two beautiful features that demonstrate green infrastructure, the bioswales and the rain garden, but a lot of residents don't necessarily know and understand what they're for and what purpose they serve. So we put together a little storyboard that will help explain for them what that's all about.
Excellent.
Anything else? Oh, did we want to talk about recycling? There was, I was here at the last meeting, I think it was, or the one before, and we put together a handout for residents around recycling. There are a lot of questions about wanting different containers, bigger containers. At this point in time, the only container that Waste Management provides to the township is the small 18-gallon bin. But if residents want to get a bigger recycling container, they can purchase one of their own up to 35 gallons, and it can weigh no more than 50 pounds for OSHA health and safety regulations. And then they have to get a recycling sticker from the township, and those stickers are here. That way they can use a container of their choosing, and it can accommodate more of their recyclables. We do want to caution that the larger recycling containers that people get, the more they tend to put contaminants in with their recyclables, and that's a huge concern right now in the industry. So please make sure that residents only put those items in the recycle bin that are on the Waste Management Township guidelines.
Okay.
Kathy, can they obtain two of the smaller ones? Would you give a second smaller one to the same customer?
I think that we're only obligated by the contract, and that's a question for Brian Conaway. I believe we were only obligated to provide one per household.
Okay.
Any other questions?
I think your large trash containers, I think those are 90 gallon. The big ones on wheels, yeah. So 35 is going to be smaller than that. All right. And you can pick up whatever brand you want at whatever stores you want, so long as it doesn't exceed 50 pounds in weight and it's no larger than a 35-gallon container. Okay, no plastic bags either. I forgot to mention it the last time I was here. Absolutely no plastic bags should be going in your recycle bins at this time. Those can usually be returned to grocery stores or wherever you get them from. They have containment units to put those back into circulation.
What about plastic packaging, like around water bottles and things like that?
That type, when you go back to your grocery store, if you recycle your plastic bags there, look at their labeling, because again, you don't want to contaminate what they're willing to collect with things that they're not. Often any of those films, bread bags, are acceptable, but you want to make sure that you're following whatever collection facilities guidelines that you're bringing it to. And Kroger, Meijer, Target, they're all starting to collect those plastic bags back at their own locations. They send them back to be reprocessed. Yeah. Usually the transporter or the companies are delivering to them those new bags, so they're able to take them back. Okay.
Any other questions? Attorney General.
Not a question, but in terms of a motion that would be made, I think...
For the Phragmites.
With regard to the Phragmites on the agenda, I think if the board is so inclined, it would be a motion along the lines of authorizing Waste Management and its contractor to undertake the Phragmites demonstration project on the Township Hall property at Waste Management's cost.
I was getting to that right after she was finished. I was going to make the motion, but yeah.
So,
I'd like to make the motion that we accept the proposal by Waste Management to assume the costs and continue with that Phragmites project, and as stated in your letter here.
To be clear, it's just this patch right by the driveway here, just so that everyone knows. Okay. Thank you.
thank you, Kathy.
I'll second.
Okay, motion by Trustee Clifford, supported by Treasurer Arnold. Any other questions or discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Letter F, Senior Center Coordinator Selection and Wage Increase Request. Deputy Supervisor, thank you. This is a process that myself, the Deputy Supervisor, and Treasurer Arnold started, and we did receive 5 resumes total. 4 interviews were scheduled based on those 5 resumes. We had a very difficult time getting those resumes in, and we actually only interviewed 3 because one of the 4 did not bother to show up.
I believe I passed out a copy of both resumes. Like Ron said, it was a very difficult decision because both of them were very qualified.
It's an extremely difficult decision because they were so very close, and it's very, very difficult to have to make a decision when you have 2. They were great people to interview. I think you'll concur with that.
I agree.
At this time, I would like to recommend to hire Sharon Westfall at $12 an hour to start. She has implied interest also in being certified for the exercise position too.
That's correct. She actually went online before the interview to see what she had to do to be accredited as an exercise instructor for the seniors. So she was already looking into that and what she could bring to the table. So it's interesting.
I don't know if there's anything you'd like to speak to, Treasurer Reynolds, regarding it.
Nope. They were both, it was a hard decision.
So we'd like to recommend Sharon Westfall for the position to start immediately.
She's able to?
She's raring to go. She's got a lot of energy.
She's
Well, I make a motion, we hire Sharon Westfall at the rate of $12 per hour for senior director.
Second.
Thank you. Motion by Trustee Clifford, supported by Treasurer Arnold. Any other questions or discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. And we will contact the other applicant. We really appreciate her interviewing with us. And if anything happens, we definitely would want to talk to her again. Letter G, Code Enforcement Officer Hire Request. Jeanette, that's been posted now.
Yes, it was in last week's paper.
We received,
Just one.
and that was not even out of the paper, correct?
Correct.
We had a gentleman that submitted regarding seeking any and all positions with the township boards, anything. We had ran our ad for code enforcement officer with no luck. No one contacted us. I made many phone calls. This gentleman was here at the time. I believe you met him also at that time. He's been the only applicant. I have not interviewed him, but I talked to him at length that day. I was very satisfied with his answers and just in talking to him. I still go through the interview process with myself and one other board member and the deputy just to make sure and to see if another, I guess by tomorrow, if another application does come in. But I can tell you we're not the only community that is looking for a code enforcement officer at this time. We're losing our code officer to basically wage issues. He'll be starting off at another place at $6 more an hour and $9 more an hour within 30 days after he hires. So it's very difficult to compete with a $9 difference in pay. So what I'd like, based on a satisfactory interview, is to be able to hire this gentleman because we're already 30 days behind in our code enforcement. And this is a person also that has to work in coordination with myself, the deputy supervisor, and Attorney Jopic. Mr. Murray's going to be much missed because it takes, and I think Attorney Jopic can speak to this, it's probably going to take us a year to bring this gentleman up to speed on everything of the cases that we have. Each one of these cases are dynamic, and some have been out there for 20 years, and the files are very thick and they have a lot of history. So we're planning on roughly 10 hours a week, and that's kind of the parameters we're going to stick by. And unless he has to go to court, which he could sit there, you know, for more hours during the week, but that's our option right now. But I would like the authorization, if it's a satisfactory interview, to hire this gentleman on the spot and get going with this. Also, the Village of New Haven has contacted me too. They would like to talk to us probably about sharing an individual. They need an individual, minimum 10 hours a week.
They pay $400 a month
Well,
at the village.
and that's probably going to be changing.
What was that?
According to the ad that the Village of New Haven put out, they're looking for code enforcement for $400 a month.
And they can't find anybody. And
Yeah,
I talked to him.
I'm not bringing it up to cause problems. I'm just letting you know that
I spoke to him today, and he's aware that they're not getting anybody, and that's why he asked if, you know, once we hire somebody, and I hate to, I think our gentleman's going to be busy enough here. So it's very difficult to find somebody that has a flexible schedule that can come in at a minute's notice, 6 days, 7 days a week to cover any of this. So that's what I'm asking for at this time.
I will make a copy for all the board of his resume and letter. I'll have it to you tomorrow. And he is a Lenox resident also.
And I believe Treasurer, I don't know, you said you'd sit in on that interview too. Any questions?
So basically, what we're saying is if the 3 people sitting on the interview consider that it is a satisfactory interview, you will immediately hire this person.
Correct.
Okay.
And here's the problem. We have nobody else to interview.
I understand.
I
I'm
have
just
nothing else to,
making sure I'm,
I mean, unless this guy gives us, this individual gives us a red flag that causes us to stop the process right there. I mean, what am I going to do?
no, I was just making sure I had it, the process that you're asking for correct. That's all.
Yes.
Yeah, we've advertised in the paper, you've done everything, right?
Yes.
I make a motion that we authorize the interviewing committee to proceed with the interview and hire as needed based on the findings,
Thank you.
based on $15 an hour.
I second.
Thank you. Motion by Trustee Clifford, supported by Trustee Gurley. Any other question or discussion? This person does live in the township too. They just moved here. I just met him for the first time the other day. I think you met him one time too. He did come to the planning commission. But I think he'll be a good candidate. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jeanette. Home purchase of development rights PDR committee appointment. With retirement of Karen Opbacher, we need to report somebody to the PDR committee. I don't know if there's anybody here today. Yes, I see, sir. Thank you. You'd like to speak to this, sir?
Sure.
Thank you very much.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Mr. Chairman. My name is Kenneth J. Cook. I represent Armada Township, and I'm currently the chair of the Macomb PDR Committee. And with the retirement of Karen Ottenbacher, we're looking to see if Lenox Township would be able to appoint somebody either from the Planning Commission or the Township Board or one of their representatives. Currently, the way the bylaws read, each township has 2 representatives, one to represent the Ag community, and with me this evening is John Ryan in the back to represent the Ag. And there's where we're looking for somebody from either the Township Board or the Planning Commission. And if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them and explain things in that.
What does this entail? How many meetings a year?
We're required to have a minimum of 4 meetings.
Okay.
And be honest with you, right off the bat, hoping nobody gets discouraged, there's no compensation for attending the meetings.
Okay.
But it's to represent your community's interests in it when things come up. We haven't had an application cycle from the state since 2003, but there's word they might be having some funds for maybe later on in the year. So there's where we'd like to get things set up and lined up, so if it does come down, we're ready to go. But again, this committee is made up from the townships, just like your rec committee, senior citizens, and that. So we represent yous, and yous have to say it in what goes on.
And where are these meetings held, sir?
It's usually been at Ray Township Hall because it's kind of central from everybody coming around. During the summer, it's in the evening, or farming months. But in the winter, we try to do it during the daytime because we have representatives from the county commissioners and their county planning department and MSU extension. So the thing is, according to the bylaws, it's 3-year terms. And when we started out, it was supposed to be one member for 2 years and the other one for 3. Then after that, going every 3 years, so it kind of staggered a little bit. I don't know if anybody from Lenox Township's been keeping track, but if you can appoint a second person, I'd say start from this year with John being the 3 years and the person from the township being for 2 years. And just keep track of it, comes up for reappointment after that.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions? You are volunteer. Oh, okay. It's fine.
You're already on it? Yeah.
No.
No, but I'll take care of the place.
That's fine. I'll make a motion.
I will make a motion that we appoint Kathy Honnell to the PDR committee for a period of 2 years.
Okay.
I second.
Thank you. I have a motion by Clerk Kendall, supported by Trustee Gurley. Any other questions, discussion?
Yeah, I have one. We need 2 reps.
Pardon?
No, we have one gentleman already.
We have
Oh,
one for
okay,
any-
John. Okay, John Ryan.
And that's why I was asking if you could, whoever keeps track, start from here forward, John for 3 years.
Okay, we have Mr. Ryan and Kathy.
Right.
She's for 2 years.
Then I have no other questions.
Okay. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you very
sir.
much.
Building inspector backup request. Letter I.
Hello.
Deputy Benjamin there.
Amy couldn't make it, and our building inspector is on vacation, so that's why I'm here. He just wants another backup inspector on his behalf when he's on vacation. His name is Len, and you have his resume and his builder's license.
Okay. This gentleman's recommended by Mr. Lemieux.
Correct.
This is who he's choosing.
Yes. He's known him for a long time and respects his work.
I guess I would make a motion, but I think I would make it dependent on us getting a our normal background check that we do. Otherwise,
Satisfactory background check. also?
correct.
Okay.
Have we, Ron, or anybody, you guys talked to this gentleman? Have you met him in previous? No.
Never met him. I do trust Mr. Lemieux's recommendation.
Well, looking at the app, he's plenty qualified, it looks like.
Well, and he would only be used in the case that Dennis and our other backup person is not available. So like right now, or last week, they both happened to be out of town, so we would have needed a third person, and that's when he would come in. So it really doesn't affect budget or anything else, because he would only be paid when the other 2 aren't available, so.
Yeah, I wasn't concerned about that.
Yeah,
Okay,
let's
I appreciate
slim
that.
and
Thank you.
Right, right.
questions?
I make a motion we accept the recommendation for Len Bacaccio. Is that how you pronounce that?
I think it's pretty close. Pretty close.
To be a second backup inspector when our main inspector, Dennis Simio, is not available.
Thank you.
I would add, non-satisfactory background.
Backup, I'm sorry.
That's okay. I'd second that motion.
Thank you. Motion by Trustee Clifford, supported by Clerk Candle. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Letter K, Board of Review Training Request. Oh, I'm sorry, I apologize. Letter J, Board of Review Wage Increase Request.
A few years ago, they were always being paid per day. And then a few years ago, it was changed to per hour. And that's where we get that figure from. The question is when they only work an hour.
Right.
Or a half hour. Like the December Board of Review, they worked a half hour. And you have to send out checks in a very small amount.
Yeah, I believe the issue came up that we were at $18 an hour, they worked a half an hour. So
Yeah.
$9 an hour, and we had a gentleman drive from his house to here, spend a half an hour drive back for $9. And it's not enticing for somebody to,
Right, and with other employees, we've had an hour minimum, like a 2-hour minimum for coming in. So with
There's a current hour minimum?
There is, and I believe it's for DPW when they have to come in on a weekend and change trash bags when there's
Oh, not for
other,
Board of Review, okay.
no, not for Board of Review. It's another department.
and the Board of Review, once again, it's hard to find individuals that are not working, that, so they are,
That's, I can speak from experience there, I said it.
there we go.
Right, or have a flexible schedule that they can leave for a couple hours twice a year, and for one whole week, it could be for, at March Board of Review time.
I don't think $20 an hour is out of line with some norms in place.
I did do some checking with some neighboring communities, and the only community that I have that pays more than 20 is Columbus. The rest of them pay less than $20 an hour.
Well, Casco also is at 75 for a half.
125 for a full day based
Correct.
on 7.5-hour day makes it $16.67 per hour.
Correct.
Like I said, they were getting 135 for the full day, and half of that for half a day. But we've got nothing in place for those times that it's anywhere from an hour, half hour to an hour.
And I mean, in a couple of these communities that you cited, I'll take Chester for example, it has a lower amount per hour, but they have 40,000 residents. So I imagine their volume gives them quite a bit of time and work.
They
Sure, but
probably
increase
also
that.
have more than one board of review. They probably have a
Right.
couple boards.
Exactly, so the pay would be, I mean, we're talking somebody interrupts their day to drive here for $9 an hour.
I am by no means saying that we should only pay them $9 an hour, or I'm just giving you the information.
Sure,
We
sure.
checked it out. This is what the neighboring communities pay, and I just,
What do you feel is appropriate?
we have it here. I wanted to put it out there. I don't have a problem with leaving it at 18 an hour, but giving them 1 hour minimum. Because I do think it's wrong that we have somebody come out for a half an hour and we spend the time to write them a check for $9 before taxes.
It's ridiculous.
So, yes.
Right, they spend that.
I don't have, I would like to see the minimum, I think, go up to 2 hours, not just 1. I mean, the wage, you're looking at 18, it's in the ballpark. My early thought was to go to 19 with a 2-hour minimum, but that was just a thought. I sat there, I'm speaking from experience, but it is, there's times we've come in for half an hour, there's times, and I know we have Marnie in the crowd there too. She would come in for hours and hours, full day for the March board review, but that's different. When you're making decisions, a lot of times you're here half hour, maybe 4 hours, 5 hours, it's hard to say.
The two that are in question would be the July board of review and the December board of review. Those are the ones that they're coming in and looking at a few cases. And like we said, it could be a half hour, it could be an hour, it could be 2 hours. It just depends how many requests there are from residents.
Well, yeah, if the wage was not going to be increased, I don't have a problem with a 2 hour minimum. I just, it's got to be worthwhile for somebody to come in.
I agree.
Or else we're going to be starting with people over again, retraining. Nobody stays for that kind of money.
Even in my experience when I was coming in, it's where I was working, I was making more. I came down to serve during the day on board of review for a whole lot less.
Sure.
You know.
So you're suggesting 18 with a 2 hour minimum?
Just, something has to be changed here.
If we're talking 18 for a 2 hour minimum, I'd much rather see it at $20 for a 1 hour minimum, because if they're only here an hour, we're paying them less than we would on a 2 hour minimum at 18.
Right.
Because you're talking $36 as opposed to a 1 hour at 20.
I make a motion that we do $18 per hour for the board of review wages for a minimum of 1 hour.
I'll second that.
Any other discussion? We have a motion by Trustee Gurley, supported by Treasurer Arnold.
I don't have a problem with that. I'd like to raise it to 2 hours on the minimum though.
We have to vote on the motion first. Would you like to see it 2 hour minimum at 18? Any other discussion regarding that?
Send my piece, I'm good.
So the motion is $18 an hour with 1 hour minimum. And I still feel that's quite a bit to ask for somebody to leave their workplace to come in for 1 hour for 18 bucks for a day. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Is that a aye? Okay. Opposed? No.
No.
Motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Board of Review training request, letter K.
Macomb Intermediate School District is doing training again this year for board of review. And they lowered the cost. It is $20 a person. And the assessing department would like to send the board of review and the recording secretary, which is me.
Okay.
The total cost of $80.
So
Yes.
Mr. Glaza, Mrs. Ickes, Mr. Kincaid, Mrs. Ventimiglia.
Yeah.
Totally $80.
Starts at 8 o'clock in the morning and it usually runs till noon.
I make a motion that we send four employees to the Board of Review member class held at the Macomb County ISD for a total of $80.
Second.
Motion by Clerk Kendall, supported by Treasurer Howell. Any other discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Letter L, Deputy Treasurer wage modification request. Treasurer Howell.
Okay, when I became treasurer, I appointed Karen Cults to be deputy treasurer, and I would like her wages to go to $14 an hour retroactive to November 21st, 2016.
Okay. Any questions or discussion? Everybody should have a sheet too showing retroactive.
Yeah, we do.
Okay.
I'll make a motion that we raise the deputy treasurer's pay to $14 an hour, retroactive to November 21st, 2016, which is the date that she took on the responsibility of the deputy treasurer.
I second.
Thank you. Motion by Clerk Candell, supported by Trustee Gurley. Any discussion? All those in favor?
I got, hold on.
Yes, sir.
Are we looking at all these as we discussed, possibly at budget time, all wages across the board?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, just for the audience, we did have 2 budget workshops where we discussed wages, and this was felt that it needed to be addressed right away because of the position. Good point. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Letter M. Clerk accreditation seminar request.
What this request is for is that the state of Michigan requires that all newly elected clerks attend a 2-day seminar regarding elections. And I have tentatively booked myself into the only one that was available for February 22nd and 23rd in Plainwell, which is over by Kalamazoo. So what I am requesting at this time is that the board approve 2-night stay at the Comfort Inn in Plainwell, and the information I have is it's between $87 and $111 a night, because I didn't do anything about reserving any space until I knew that it was approved. So.
Is there a cost for
There's
your
no
credit?
cost for the
There is no cost because it's mandated by the state, so the only cost to the township is lodging.
Okay.
I'd like to make a motion, we approve Clerk Candell to go to the accreditation for clerks and stay at the Comfort Inn Plainwell for 2 nights at a rate of either $87 or $111 per night.
I second.
Motion by Treasurer Honnold, supported by Trustee Clifford. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Letter N, BSNA software training request. This is for an employee training in 4 modules and an elected official. Mrs. Honnold, Mrs. Swantek, Mrs. Kultz, and Mrs. Krasowski,
Clerk Candell.
Clerk Candell. At a cost of $2,205. That's with them coming to our facility to train.
Well, they're coming here, I see.
Correct. Would you like to speak to any of this, Mrs. Candell?
Basically, we're talking about general ledger, accounts payable, payroll, and cash receipting. 2,205 days, or $5 over 2 days, half a day for each one of the modules. And we're looking at 5 employees that will benefit from this training.
Okay. Any questions?
And that would give us backups in each position.
Cross-training and backup, yes.
Yes.
Yep,
So if somebody took off, we'd have somebody to fill that very easily.
correct.
That is one of our requirements under the audit too, that we perform that function
That we have backups in each position,
and cross-training.
cross-training. nobody else we're missing on this list that would need that.
I kind of went through the office and asked everyone who might work in those modules who would be interested in learning those, and that's how I came up with that list to start with. But if there's anybody else that's interested, they can certainly sit in on different parts of it. They would be doing 2 modules a day for 2 days, so any portion that anybody would like to sit in
Would
on.
the cost go up, or did it
No,
stay the same?
no. And as a matter of fact, the cost was $2,205 for 3 modules, and I talked to them and they gave us the 4th module because the person's already going to be here. So we kind of, buy 3, get 1 free kind of thing. I like coupons.
Right. No. It's money well spent. It's a very difficult software program to navigate.
Are you and clerk and treasurer, you guys are familiar with this program already, or something brand new?
No, I'm familiar with part of it, but not all of it.
Okay. I make a motion we proceed with the quote from BSNA for training employees in the 4 modules regarding general ledger, accounts payable, payroll, and cash receipting at the cost of $2,205.
Thank you.
A second.
Thank you. Motion by trustee Clifford, supported by treasurer Arnold. Any other discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Letter O, MSU Extension Regular Medical Marijuana Facilities Workshop. Attorney Jopik.
Yes, thank you. This, I see in your agenda packet has been provided a set of materials for another training type workshop regarding the new laws concerning medical marijuana facilities. Just in a nutshell, in the last half of last year, there was legislation that came through the state and was adopted. It became effective in December, and it will not be, it provides a licensing structure through the state for various types of medical marijuana facilities, from processors to growers to transporters and other types of operations. They can obtain those licenses, and it also allows for communities to individually determine whether they're going to allow these types of facilities in their communities through adopting zoning ordinance amendments and possibly even licensing ordinances of their own. A lot of things are swirling about concerning this topic in Michigan. What's happening right now is the state is working through the process of adopting regulations. As you may know, with liquor licenses, for example, there's a whole set of administrative regulations that go hand in hand with the statute that was adopted by the legislators. And so those administrative regulations, they are ordered by the state legislation to be put together and put in place. The schedule to have those done is December of this year, 2017. So we don't know what those are going to consist of at this point in time. They're being developed, and in the meantime, no licenses are going to be issued by the state until at least December of 2017. Depending on how long they take to issue licenses, one looks at the liquor licensing process. It takes a number of months usually to get licenses. It could be similar type of period of time for these types of licenses, especially at the beginning of the process. So what Michigan State, the extension program here is doing, and they do these workshops on various things. I'm actually a contributing author to the Planning and Zoning News. I appear in it about 2 times a year, and I provide them summaries of cases and whatnot of relevance to land use and zoning. So I'm familiar with their program. They do a great job. And I know that they put on these programs to try and help communities along. And I'm sure this is going to be a good presentation. I do not know the presenter personally. I work with other folks from the extension program. But it is something for the township to consider, certainly attending the seminar if members would like to do that. One of the things that Mr. Casson, the township's planner, and I, who are both very well-versed in medical marijuana law and have attended seminars, presentations, and I've actually given presentations on the topic for many, many years, including the new law. I've done some presenting on that, and we'll continue to do that. There was some discussion that perhaps one idea would be for some sort of a presentation at the township level here at the township hall. If you think about it, a zoning ordinance amendment would, if that's the route that the township decides to go, would be a matter that would go through the planning commission for review and the township board. So all the members of both of those bodies will need to be educated on this topic in order to make an informed decision on what you want to do. Do you want to adopt ordinances or not? Additionally, it wouldn't be bad to have the zoning board of appeals members brought up to speed, because if there is a zoning ordinance, variances and perhaps special land use, I take that back, just variances and perhaps interpretations of the zoning ordinance may come into play. So informing them would be beneficial as well, and not to leave out staff, of course, who would be implementing this on the ground, may also benefit from that. So that was something that we were talking about, as well as some sort of public informational presentation to the community as well on this new topic, to make a decision, get information to the board, and go through this process. I wanted to make sure, I think Mr. Casson and I both wanted to make sure that the board was aware of that concept of pursuing this with the township to in-house equal it. Of course, educational seminars are always beneficial, but I wanted you to make sure you knew that some of those things were on the block and being talked about and considered, of course, with your blessing before you go forward with anything. But just to make sure you had all the information on this and made an informed decision about it. If you have any questions about it before deciding whether to proceed with any of this sort of training, then I'm happy to answer them.
I have one comment, just as, and you can verify this, we've been inundated with phone calls from the marijuana industry wanting to meet with us on a regular basis. It's been quite some time now. It's somebody new every week calling here wanting to set up meetings, and we have discussed possibly a town hall meeting to get out the information to our residents, so residents are fully aware of what this is comprised of. And our neighboring communities have also had town hall meetings, things of that nature, and I think the information needs to get out there to everybody so they know exactly what's going on with this industry. Because it seems to me that it's picking up more speed. It's coming at us in every direction now, and we have to be prepared for it. I know Mr. Casson is really immersed in getting as much information. Mr. Marino on the Planning Commission has went, gathered information. That's what we need, as much information as we can, and with the help of you deciphering it when this comes due, and I think you said in December?
Well, that's the earliest point in time that the state would issue any
Correct.
licenses or start processing licenses, actually.
And as everybody knows, time flies, and that'll be here before we know it. And I don't want to see us in a position where we don't have something set up properly to...
Well, I'm looking at dates here, Supervisor Chalmers, that he's got these seminars that there's one, the closest one to us would be, would be in Richmond Township or Warren Community Center. Warren Community Center is March 2nd. March 7th is the Richmond Township Hall, which is right around the corner. And I'd be interested in attending one of those just to see. And I see, if I'm reading this the right way, we would have to register by February 13th, so we're only a week away for anybody that wants to go.
And you expressed interest, Mr. Marino's expressed interest, Mr. Casson?
I have 2 planning commission members, well, actually 3, but Mr. Marino is one of them. 2 other planning commission members who have expressed interest. I would suggest that Carol Swantek also attend, because she does talk to people on a regular basis regarding planning and zoning, so.
Well, I'm on planning too, so it would
Right.
be, yeah,
Right.
it would be Joe and I and Carol. Who
Chuck
else?
and Mike
Mike Bernard.
and Chuck.
Yeah, I don't mind people we got to get this information, and the more the better. I'd rather have everybody have a clear understanding of what's going on here. And then, like I said, Mr. Jopic, we're having people that are tied to universities come to us, big name universities that want to come to our community. They're not letting up. They're calling. They want meetings. They want to get their information out. They want to be ready for when this happens. So I definitely would like to get the community involved and let everybody know what's happening.
Only one I know of is, I believe Mr. Marino requested going to the one in Warren. Is that correct?
I think Mr. Casson wants to go to that one.
Okay.
Also.
The other people that I'm aware of were all interested in the Richmond Township one. So
I would go to either one, but I'm looking here at the cost, and it's $55 for regulars, and if we got 2 or more from our township, it's $50.
And I think that 2 or more doesn't matter where we send them, just as long as they're registered. So
Right.
Correct. So what's the total? Do you have that?
I think I had 6.
Okay, 6 people.
1, 2. Will you go?
Do we need that many?
I think that the more people you have informed, the better.
Well, I agree, but I
Because
don't.
you'll hear something that I'll hear, and there will be discussion because we both possibly may understand it a little bit differently. So I think the more people you have with that information, the better you are.
I'm good with that.
So I think 6 is the number.
To make the motion.
I would make a motion that we send 6 people to the Michigan State University Extension Regulating Medical Marijuana Facilities Workshop at the cost of $50 per person.
I'll second.
Motion by Clerk Candle, supported by Treasurer Honnold. Any other questions or discussion?
Is this workshop open to the public?
I'm sorry, sir.
Is the
Pardon?
workshop open to the public?
At this point, I believe it's not.
Let me see.
To the general?
I thought I just read that it said at this point, initial workshop is targeting elected and appointed officials, not the general public.
You know what I can do, sir? I can give you the contact number though over there. You can call them direct to see possible if they would have some type of opening for you or another venue that you could attend that they do.
That's fine.
So, Jeanette, do you have a copy of this with you right now, the contact information for this gentleman? Thank you. We'll get you taken care of, sir. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Letter P, Macomb County Chapter, Michigan Townships Association Annual Dues Request. Deputy Supervisor?
We've been a member of this for a number of years. They did lower the dues this year, $30. And they have, I believe it's monthly or quarterly meetings. And they have one, their next meeting is next Monday. So if anybody wants to attend, please let me know. I can let them know.
Thank you. This is for the year, $30.
Correct.
I make a motion we extend our membership of the Michigan Townships Association, Chapter District 21, at the cost of $30.
I second.
Thank you. Motion by Trustee Clifford, supported by Trustee Gurley. Other questions? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Letter Q, Shortel Telephone Contract Renewal.
This is basically a quote from High Tech for the renewal of our support for the telephone system. It's remained the same this year. It's $1,499.
These are the people that come out and service our systems all the time.
Correct. They're the ones that we call when we forget our passwords. And
Thank you, Luann.
you're welcome, Scott.
I had that coming. I make a motion, we approve our contract with High Tech at the cost of $1,499.
I have a question on that.
Yes, sir.
I'm sorry.
How long? They get it for a year, they get it for 10, they get it for
1 year.
5?
1 year.
1 year.
Okay, thank you. That's all I wanted to know.
I apologize, sir.
Also, expensive password retrieval, isn't it?
What's that?
Isn't it expensive password retrieval?
Why, one time I forgot my password.
Oops.
That wasn't just the cost for that, it's for the whole year. But
It's for every time.
I'll second it.
Who made the motion?
Scott.
Scott, thank you. Motion by trustee Clifford, supported by treasurer Arnold. Any other questions or discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. We just have township personnel photo identification cards request. I'll go. I don't know, clerk, you're handling this with the photographer?
I am the one that made contact with her, yes.
In the past, Lenox Township has provided employee identification cards to its employees determined by the board. The clerk has spoken to the photographer to see if they still had the pictures of the existing members, and then we need to have pictures taken for the new members, correct?
Correct.
Basically, these are just employee identification badges where if we go out into the public, we should have an identifiable credential to show we are who we are, as requested, especially for example, like our court enforcement officer or things of that nature when we go out and we have to interact with residents. So they know we are from a government entity. So basically, the new cards would cost $10 a person, which include a photo, and the duplications are $5 a card. We are going to do duplicates that will be retained here at the township in case of lost or damaged cards, so we don't have to have retakes. Total cost, is this a total cost? Let me see.
Well, I did put down a cost of 15 employees at $15 each would come to $225. But now that I'm looking at the list, I'm realizing that we do have a new senior director who will require, and we do have a new code enforcement.
Correct.
So, yeah.
So
there's
additional
a couple
$30.
additional, yeah.
So $255 then, I believe, would be the new total.
With the seasonal employees, those can be added at any time?
Yeah.
I think our seasonal is on here, isn't it?
No,
No, we
no,
always-
but when I talked to her, she said when we had seasonal employees, we could just let her know and she would do them for $15, just like everybody else. It would just be,
We might, actually, he's been here now 2 years, going on 3 years. We might as well get him one issue. We might as well include him right into this bid at a cost of $270 then, I would say. That way we don't have to revisit this. But yeah, everybody should have identification that works here. Any questions?
she also stated that she would do a CD and a composite of all the board members, and that way we had a CD with all our board members' pictures on it in case there was ever a need for it for media releases or anything like that. The cost of that would be $225. I did put it in here. I personally don't see a need for it. I would request that, or make a motion that we agreed to $15 per person for, I think we're up to 18 employees now, at a cost of $270 for ID badges.
Yeah,
I would agree with that. I don't think we need the CD.
So are you making the motion, clerk?
Yes.
Are you supporting that motion?
I'll support.
Thank you. Motion by
Without
clerk.
the CD.
Correct.
Correct.
Motion by Clerk Kendall, supported by Trustee Clifford. Any other discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Letter S, drive-up window proposal. Mr. Safe.
Good evening again.
Good evening, sir.
This has been discussed a few times, and especially at the last meeting. We updated the rough estimate for the window retrofit and the drive, the half circular drive, and we come up about $48.50 for both. And that's just preliminary estimate, without going into a lot of details. So it's basically a concrete driveway plus the teller window, which is a mechanical, with the mechanical drawer, just like the bank uses. And
Just to give a quick summary, Mr. Safe, what we're looking to do between the room between the clerk's office and the treasurer's office, we're looking at implementing a drive-through window for seniors and anybody physically impaired that can't walk or needs to use from their vehicle, where they can pull up to the building, just like a bank, where you have one of those extended drawers that'll come out. They can do their transactions, pay their taxes, retrieve documents, things of that nature, between the clerk and the treasurer, right from their car. What we're looking to do is utilize CDBG funds, which we have had a great difficulty in brick and mortar projects, trying to find things that would be approved through the county. We got word that this would not be approved, but then after further investigation, Mr. Cass is saying there's no way this project should be denied, because it is for seniors, lower moderate income, and they could use this.
Seniors, handicapped people.
Correct, without a doubt. And I can tell you firsthand information that with the corner office, and I think you guys have seen it from the front, sometimes there's a great difficulty for some people to make it from the parking lot to the side here. Also, on days that were closed, this would give the clerk's office and the treasurer's office great security by leaving the building locked and still being able to conduct business from that window, correct? So it does provide a measure of security. And Mr. Safe, this is from a previous workup that we did, and now you've revisited it, correct?
Yes.
We would be putting in a half-circle driveway.
Half-circle driveway, curb and gutter, concrete, most likely, and retrofit the window to accommodate the drawer and a two-way communication.
So structurally, there'd be no change in the building, basically. We would retrofit the window that is in place in the middle of the room.
That's the plan.
What was the amount that we had?
Yes, ma'am.
What was the price we gave?
$48,000.
48,000?
Correct. We'd be using some CDBG funds to offset that cost.
That's what I was going to ask, how much, do you know how much?
9,000 in CDBG.
I believe that, and we still, Deputy Supervisor, do we still have some existing funds too that need to be reallocated? Just to give an idea, we looked at bathroom projects for the park for seniors. We've submitted, every idea we had was shot down by the county.
Funds that we have for CDBG are for services, so I'm not sure if they'll be able to be used for brick and mortar.
This is just specifically brick and mortar.
So you said
9 at this time.
9,000?
Correct.
That's what we have available right now.
In CDBG.
CDBG, right.
That would come off that 48.
And like I said, we looked at other alternative measures to use the funding. We don't want to lose $9,000. We want to apply
Not
it.
giving it to us, no.
We want to apply it to some improvement, some way, somehow. And it's been a struggle.
How long do we have to use it?
That has to be used this year, correct, Jeanette?
Correct.
This year. Or it reverts back. So the problem we've had, it seems like any idea, we used the bathroom idea, some other building re-beautification ideas, everything was shot down. Even this idea was shot down until today, when I received word from Mr. Cass on that we're sending a letter to the county executive that this project definitely applies.
We've had a lot, I take it we've had a lot of complaints from seniors about maneuvering into the building.
We talked to the seniors and feedback-wise, and all positive, that they would love to have that. We've had accidents with people falling, things of that nature. This is just a way to make it easy.
Make the building more senior friendly, and you approached senior bathrooms at one time, you guys did out on the
Absolutely.
park.
That was shot down immediately.
The numbers you guys got on the sheet, these are pretty current. Are you figuring high, or you think that's pretty close to what it's going to be?
No, that's just rough estimate right at this point.
So it could be more.
Or it could be less.
Well, it could be less. It depends how, if it's bulletproof or just audio communication, or do we need video? Does the window accommodate a retrofit, or do we need to make it wider, or structurally we need to work on the frame or something? We don't have all those details yet. It's
Right.
just for budgeting purposes.
You have to have plans drawn up.
The one thing I can tell you, that part of the parking lot, there's usually never anybody that parks in that specific area over there.
Yeah, and when we put the driveway pavement, we still have to rework the sprinkler system, the drainage. It's not simple.
Unless anybody can come up with any other ideas for projects.
I just have a real problem with obligating ourselves to an additional $39,000 just to use $9,000 in CDBG funds. I see that the project has potential, but that's a lot of money at this time.
We're not thinking that it's like a tube chute is more.
A drawer.
No, I'm not talking a drawer. I'm talking if they pulled up into a parking spot and there was like the bank tubes, vacuum tubes.
Yeah, you're talking video, you're talking a lot of stuff for that.
Yeah, there was other things that played into that type of system. Because of the infrastructure needed, you're talking more electrical, the plumbing that has to be buried underground. And then of course, you're still mitigating some of those spots in the parking lot for them to drive up to a teller that you would have to put an awning, crash posts.
So the biggest factor is maintenance and repair.
So it's kind of almost the same amount, believe it or not. And that was looking back at the old estimate that I got from some of these manufacturers.
Plus, you're looking at a cylinder just a little bigger than this to try and fit whatever transaction or documents or whatever you're doing.
No, if it was, we were approving it, I wouldn't have a problem with just a drawer. I got to think about this some more. This is,
I think you can gather more information.
We can, if we have more details. I mean, if we come up with the exact pavement layout and maybe talk to a couple of more manufacturers, but the actual window, can we fit, if we can retrofit? Maybe we could come up with a cheaper alternative. But again, that was a quick thing to put together, just for budgeting purposes. I mean, it could be 10, 20% less, it could be 10, 20% more.
And I just got that word from Mr. Cassidy today. So,
I'd like to, I think, personal opinion, I would like to table this for a little bit more research and I can do a little bit more homework. I don't want to make a decision tonight.
support that? I have a motion by Trustee Clifford, supported by Treasurer Arnold. Any other questions and discussion? Yes, sir.
If we can suggest that, to put more details together and maybe have a couple of contractors by invitation look at it and give us hard numbers instead of, if the board would like to entertain this improvement, we can get much closer numbers. We have to do a little bit more work.
Doing some more research on what the cost will be.
Yeah.
It doesn't change the fact of what you have available versus the potential cost of this. So you have to tell us if you want to move forward or not.
I can tell you too, in 8 years, there's been no capital improvements to this building or modifications. Zero. Other than, I take that back, other than heating and cooling. Any other questions? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay. Item tabled. Letter T, new health care plan. Deputy Supervisor.
Okay. Effective February 1st, we have a Blue Cross plan called Personal Choice, PPO. That's not working out really well because of the numerous doctors that are in the plan, that are not in the plan, for our employees. When they met with the company on Thursday, each individual, there was so many doctors that our employees are seeing, and they're not in the level 1. They're only, and they came up with today another plan called Simply Blue PPO. It's basically exactly the same, only there is no category level 1 or 2, so all the doctors are in there. We can see all the doctors.
Yeah, there's no tier system for the doctors. Every doctor's covered in the plan. It is still half the copay, half the out-of-pocket at the end. They had a difference in the premium at the end of roughly around $4,800, they thought, ballpark, which would be plus or minus based on enrollment. And basically the problem we have with the other plan too is we cannot approve by amount based on additions or deletions. So we basically approve the plan and then determine cost on who's enrolled and who's not.
Right, 'cause that can change from year to year, or even during the year if you add employees or employees leave or have a life change where they have to change their insurance.
So there was a $4,800 difference, but still we get double the savings of the old plan, basically is what they're saying.
From the HAP plan.
From the HAP plan.
Correct.
Any questions?
at this, we don't have the firm numbers yet, but in looking at this, the increase that they were talking about today comes to $4,932 per year, which is a 7.42% increase. I personally, if I understand this correctly, the biggest thing is that this new plan would allow for doctors that aren't currently in the other plan. But the other part of it is that office visit costs to the employees would be cut in half,
$20.
okay? And the yearly deductible would be cut. Keeping those two items in mind, I would like to see us adjust the employee amount of contribution to the insurance to 25% as opposed to the 20-80 split that we're currently doing now. I believe that most employees who take the insurance would be benefiting from the lower deductible and the lower copay to make up the difference that would have to be paid in their insurance. And then that way, the township is being fiscally responsible from the standpoint of we're taking on an additional burden of $132 a year as opposed to $5,000.
Do you know what that 5% works out to per employee?
Yes, I do. I have that information here.
Okay,
Would you like it?
please.
Okay. I have it per employee, so I'd have to say names. Is that a problem?
I wouldn't do that.
Okay, well then I will just give you a copy of this. Down at the bottom shows you what this is based on 20%. I only have that one copy.
Now, where do you have the per month? Is that the
That's what
increase?
they're currently, no, that's what they're currently paying. Oh, wait a minute, let me see. I did this real quick at home, so. That is the increase per month, then the increase annually, and then that's what they would be charged per pay.
So this amount here is a per month increase per employee,
That is correct.
and this is per
That is
pay.
per pay, correct.
That, in my opinion, right away, and just take the bottom one, for example, that negates his co-pays right out of the gate then, of cutting them in half. Why even bother cutting them in half then if you're going to do that?
I have an issue with us agreeing to pay another $5,000 a year.
It's fine.
So I just was trying to find an alternative solution.
That's what
How much is the deductible per year? With the old plan and the new plan, what is the deductible?
Talking about the plan that we have right now for February.
Yes.
Are you talking out of pocket at the end of the,
Deductible for a single person is $1,000. For a family, it's $2,000.
And what is it under?
That's if it was under level 1. If they see a doctor in level 1, which none of us have a doctor in level 1, so we have to go to 2. Level 2 is $2,500 for a single person and $5,000 for a family. If we go to the plan you proposed today, it is $1,000 for a single member and $2,000 for a family.
So we're talking for a family, it's $3,000 less than the tier 2 plan.
Yes. I don't get where you're going with that.
That's $3,000 you don't have to pay out of your pocket.
the problem that we have here is,
Or you could go to
If we
change
s-
all your doctors.
Right, you have to change all your doctors.
I'm not suggesting you would change all our doctors. I'm just suggesting that we change our method at this point and say that the employee is responsible for 25% and the township pays for the remaining 75%, as opposed to the 80-20 split we're doing now. By doing that, the township is taking on the responsibility of an additional $132 a year, and the employees are paying the remainder.
You're not giving us enough time to sit there and figure out, I'm pretty healthy, but let's say somebody else isn't. If we stay with the plan we have now, and I have to do the level 2 doctors, and my copay is 40 or 60 if I have to do a specialist, versus
20.
or 40 for a specialist in the newer plan.
So you're saving $20 an office visit by going with...
But I'm spending a lot more
Right.
out of my pay. My pay is going down.
Your pay is going down based on how many people, where's the sheet?
Those are the only ones that are insured on the plan?
Yes.
And Dennis wasn't,
$23.50 would be your additional bi-weekly amount of insurance.
okay, but I go to the doctor twice a year. So I'm losing $40 a month.
Okay, but the
$50 a
township
month.
should be responsible for
No,
that $5,000? That's all I'm trying to say.
Not sure.
You're talking about $5,000 and you're want the township to take on that responsibility.
But if something happens to me, I gotta pay $5,000 if I kept the plan we have now.
Well, one of the issues, just to get it out.
Oh, well,
One of the issues is we can keep it the same, but it will affect local doctors.
I understand that.
So
I completely and
we'll
totally
be
understand
affecting
that.
not only our employees, but local
I
doctors in
completely
this
understand
community.
that, but we're also affecting the township by going
Sure we are,
to an additional $5,000 a year.
correct.
but we don't know that for sure. He wasn't able to run the numbers today, so he doesn't know exactly what the amounts are gonna be. It could be less than what he's thinking.
And it could be more.
Would there be an issue tabling this till the next meeting?
Then it won't go till the right now, if we switch now, then we get the March.
The only issue is this, if
Special
somebody
day.
wants to go to their primary care doctor, not naming names, the majority of all the doctors are out of that tier.
We can,
So they will have to choose a new primary care physician or pay double.
I would not be opposed to at this point agreeing to that, but to say at budget time, we look at changing those amounts that the township and the employee pay. Because I don't think it's right that the township takes on that full responsibility. The employee is benefiting from this higher amount that we're paying. Because you have lower deductibles and you have lower office visit costs. And you get to see the doctor you want to. So that's where I stand on that.
Any other questions, discussion?
Right now, I would like to, well,
We really don't want to table it.
what's that?
I said, we really don't want to table it and then have to wait until, or would you have to wait until then?
April.
April?
If they can do it then. We can do it now because we've had some issues.
So Luann, what you're suggesting is that we go with this
And then at budget time, we look at and seriously consider the employee taking on a bigger responsibility for their insurance costs.
I don't have a problem with that. We can, if we look at it at budget time, but we need a decision tonight. That's about the best I'm gonna go with.
Making a motion.
I will make a motion that we agree to the additional $4,932 per year for the Blue Cross
Simply Blue
Simply
PPO.
Blue plan, with the contingency that it is reviewed at budget time as far as allocation of employee-employer contributions.
Motion by Clerk Kendall, supported by Treasurer Honnold. Any other discussion or questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you.
Letter U, hours of meetings. This was brought up in discussion months ago, but basically due to some of the length of the agendas, talking about starting the meetings earlier than 7:30. We were kicking around ideas to try for a little while, it can always revert back, but I think we had a consensus that we'd like to start earlier. Pardon? I know myself personally, I wouldn't mind 6 o'clock. Would you like to comment?
6 o'clock is good for me.
In doing this, I don't have a problem switching times, but I'd like to make it, there's a lot of people that get out at the 5 o'clock rush hour, and they're gonna, and I'd like to, if they have they want to come to the meeting 6 o'clock, a little push for them to go home and have dinner. I might like that 6:30 would be fine with me, if you want to do that.
I tend to agree with that. Sometimes I have grandkids I have to pick up between 5 and 6:30.
The public could probably weigh in here too. I don't have, I'd like to be able to come to the meeting and not too late to drag the meeting on until 10:30 like we're doing.
That's been the biggest complaint I've heard for residents that want to show up, they say, I got to work the next day, and
We had a long agenda tonight, we're at 22:03 after. But yeah, I wouldn't mind moving it up, but to the point where I still want to make it convenient for our public to come at a reasonable hour and not interrupt their dinner.
I spoke to Attorney Jopik too, and you have no issues with that?
None whatsoever.
Anybody like to voice any concerns or any ideas? Pardon?
Earlier would be better.
Consensus I've got from everyone, I've not heard a negative complaint regarding it, so. Especially in the winter months when it seems like it's midnight already, so. Would you like to make that motion, Mr. Clifford?
I'd like to make a motion, we change the meeting time.
Attorney Jeff.
Can I just clarify one thing for purposes of the motion? What you're actually doing, if you recall, you adopted a meeting schedule.
Correct.
Set all the dates for all the meetings for the rest of the year, and you have to do that under the Open Meetings Act. So I'd ask that if the motion refer to that regular meeting, amending the regular meeting schedule to reflect whatever.
To reflect, okay. I'd like to make a motion that we amend the regular meeting schedule to reflect that the time starts at 6:30 on the prescribed dates already on the schedule.
Second.
I have a motion by Trustee Clifford, supported by Treasurer Honnold. Any
I
other
just have a quick question. Do we
Yes.
need to
post?
post and
I would
re-advertise?
say
Because we
yes.
had to put it in the paper.
And
I would
this
say
is
yes.
starting March's meeting, correct?
So,
It sounds like it is, the answer is yes, you do have to repost the regular meeting schedule in accordance with Open Meetings Act.
okay. What I need to know. Thank you.
Any other questions, discussion? Anybody? All those in, any problem with the camera crew?
No, I'm good. 6:30 is
All right,
fine.
thank you. Just wanted to check.
Yep.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Number 11, public comment. Yes, ma'am.
This is going back to the health insurance. Mr. Tremley knows how I feel about the township paying health insurance, period. My husband and I have to pay our own health insurance. Right now, we are paying $1,000 a month. Wait until you retire and you no longer have the township paying your insurance and you have to pick it up yourself. You're in for a big surprise. We had to change doctors because our doctors don't participate in the insurance that we now have. We had to change primary doctors, heart doctors, dermatologists, you name it. We had to start all over again, and we pay it all. Our co-pays are $20 for a regular doctor, $40 for a specialist.
Thank you. Any other public comment? Okay, need a motion?
Make a motion that we adjourn the meeting at 9:26. And a half.
Motion by Clerk Candle, supported by Trustee Gurley. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Meeting adjourned.